Hi everybody, my name is Nyorhagwe. I am a Cameroonian-american artist, visualist, fashion designer. I came to America when I was 6 years old. I was born in Cameroon. My story is that I have a very multicultural background, raised in Italy, moved a lot around the States, and that really influenced my art. I became an artist when I found out that that was the form of communication I felt really comfortable with, and that's how I fell in love with art. Then it developed into a love for fashion because it was really a form of communication that was less to myself and more to speaking towards the world, speaking towards whoever could see me. And then I got into Parsons, spent my undergrad there 4 years, and then I took a break. During that time, I was trying to find my voice as a fashion designer, as a businesswoman. 2015 was that time. I started my own brand in 2016. And then I went back to school in 2017. So right now I'm doing my master's in business administration, focused on entrepreneurship, and doing it all the while still running a business. Fashion kind of became my way of being able to communicate, what I was feeling, where I was inside myself with other people. I'm more of a writer. I love writing in my diary, but I feel like to a certain extent that only said so much, just like I was talking to myself, versus even with my art, those who could understand it, but there was something about fashion that made people understand you a little bit more. So that's how fashion got into play. Now, fashion as a career was actually in high school when I turned on this show, Project One Way. You probably heard of it. And I watched it for the first time and I was like, wait a minute, this is a career path? I had no idea that people actually made money off of fashion design, being a fashion designer. So then that's when I said that, okay, I want to be a fashion designer. And I just Googled literally top fashion design schools. Parsons was #1. And I think I just love the way that fashion communicates. The way it communicates is just completely different. It's just completely different. It's a 3D art form. It's literally material. It's things that we need. We do need clothes all at the same while, and it's art on top of that. So there was just something very intriguing about all the different aspects of fashion. And then when I got into Parsons and really kind of delved into finding more about myself, finding more about my background and my culture, fashion really became like an open diary for me to do so. And so it was the perfect way for me to explore myself. And then while I was doing that, I found out that it was also a really good way to tie in my culture and the people of my culture into the work that I do as well. Cameroon is a very, very talented country, and there's a lot of artisans there who, their craftsmanship is crazy, and a lot of it is just based off of intuition and based off skills that have been passed down. It's not like there's a lot of technical schools for it. So when I discovered that fashion could also be a way of improving the poverty rate that was there, I just said, no, we definitely have to continue building this brand. And it just seemed like fashion was the perfect way to do it. So that's really what pushed me forward. The struggles that we've had is just any struggle that any young brand would have, like figuring out yourself, what makes you unique, finding your voice, and funding is always a thing. But most importantly, finding your voice, because I feel like finding your voice and your uniqueness is gonna tie into everything else. So at the time when I started the brand, 2015 was when African fashion became poppin' once again. I had this thing in my head where I was like, if I don't get the ball rolling right now, like I'm not gonna be like when the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons, like when they were just starting. Now like they were there when the ball was rolling, and then were able to establish themselves and are now like powerhouses. So that's what I was thinking about, like African fashion. Like I need to hurry up and be amongst the names that are like just coming up now, or else I won't. You know, all these fears that come along with it. So those are the struggles. Finding your voice too will also help you identify how you want to communicate yourself to other people, how you want other people to see yourself. And that's when things like customer service and relationship with other people comes into play. But you have to know yourself as a brand. I think when I started, I didn't really know. I knew like, you know, the kind of style of my clothes and things like that. But when you're running a business, that's not all that, you know, plays a part. So not knowing myself very well at that time did seep into other things like customer service, and I didn't really know the importance of that when I first started. And so, you know, being truthful and being honest, having that as values to the brand now is something that I'm like, you know, I'm grateful that I was able to learn and change about myself and about the business. A lot of the struggles when we're talking about business, a lot of people don't know, like those struggles really come from the entrepreneur themselves. Like you have to face a lot of the things that are within you, because that's what reflects then into the business. If you're having issues with funding, I feel like that's because, you know, you yourself have to be able to think, okay, creatively, how else can we do these things? You have to expand and you have to believe that you can actually do it. Because a lot of people will use money as an excuse. And at some point, I chose to stop making money or not having money an excuse. All right. So what motivates me? Unfinished business motivates me. I don't like seeing things unfinished. And I take a lot of joy in being able to birth something and just, you know, nurturing it and then seeing what it ends up, you know, being. That brings me a lot of joy. And another thing that motivates me too is just God's promise. I'm a believer, so our relationship has grown so much, and literally being able to see what my calling is, that motivates me a lot, because I want to be my best self. Who is she? Who is my best self? Who is the best brand? Like, what does that look like? So that motivates me a lot. The possibility of what can be motivates me. Yeah. My advice to anyone who just wants to do something different, because it doesn't mean you have to be a businesswoman, businessman, but you want to get up and just do something. You have to really do the work to explore yourself. The self-exploration to me is really, really big. And what I mean by that is you have to figure yourself out. Ask yourself the questions, because a lot of times fear and doubt play a part because you don't know why you're doing it. You don't know how you're going to do it, and the how comes because you don't know why. And why you're doing anything, you have to figure out who you are first. That's like the point A of anything. Who are you? That is literally the hardest question to ask, but you need to find that answer. You have to find that answer, because everything else, the answer to everything else comes after that. And then when fear comes and doubt comes and anxiety comes, you're going to be able to go back and say, wait a minute, this is who I am. I know this about myself. I know why I want to do this. I know who I am. And therefore, you're not, because fear comes sometimes because we're looking at other people and what it is that they're doing. We're looking at other people and how it is that they got there. If you know yourself, you can continue to reassure yourself and say, wait a minute, I'm not even that person. Why would I want something that someone else has when I am capable of giving myself that same thing, or even better, you know, and better because it fits more so you than that other person. And it truly does connect into everything, even when you're starting a business and things, because everything starts from inside and then manifests itself outside. So that's why that's so important, because whether people see the inside or not, it will eventually be communicated. As a man thinketh, so is he. So you gotta think right. You gotta know. Yeah.